Donald Trump declares negotiating a permanent peace deal is the best way to end the war in Ukraine after talks with his Russian counterpart failed to reach an agreement. Vladimir Putin says the conversation was sincere and substantive as he demands Ukraine withdraw from Donetsk and Luhansk as a condition for ending the conflict.
Of all days, this was one to define Donald Trump's presidency. The protagonist duly arrived at an Alaskan military base. For the Russian with blood on his hands, there was a red carpet welcome as the pair came together on the tarmac. This was a superpower moment, with the smile and the shake of men who hold peace in their hands. There was no doubting the warmth of the welcome that extended to a military flypast. But before the waiting media, it didn't stretch to questions answered.
President Putin, will you stop killing civilians?
Putin gave a deaf ear to questions about a ceasefire and civilian deaths. His host took him away from it all in Cadillac One, the beast no less, where typically only US presidents travel. Putin looked a man feeling the luxury and the love. The talk had been of a one-to-one meeting.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
It expanded to 3-on-3. Trump, flanked by his Secretary of State Marco Rubio and Special Envoy Steve Witkoff. Untypically, there was no question and answer from the US president as he sat down with his guest. While discussions took place behind closed doors, there was a small pro-Ukraine demonstration at the gates of the base. Inside, after 2 hours 45 minutes of talks, they were over.
Our negotiations have been held in a constructive atmosphere of mutual respect.
We really made some great progress today. I've always had a fantastic relationship with President Putin, with Vladimir.
Mutual respect had clearly been the feeling in the room, but the pair didn't feel their way to a deal.
We haven't quite gotten there, but we've made some headway. So there's no deal until there's a deal.
I expect that today's agreements will be the starting point, not only for the solution of the Ukrainian issue, but also will help us bring back businesslike and pragmatic relations between Russia and the US.
There wasn't a single mention of the word at the heart of the matter, ceasefire.
So just to put it very quickly, I'm going to start making a few phone calls and tell them what happened. But we had an extremely productive meeting, and many points were agreed to. There are just a very few that are left. Some are not that significant. One is probably the most significant. But we have a very good chance of getting there. We didn't get there, but we have a very good chance of getting there.
Vladimir Putin had spoken of a starting point for a Ukraine solution, but he laid the ground for failure and laid the blame early.
We expect that Kiev and European capitals will perceive that constructively and that they won't throw a wrench in the works. They will not make any attempts to use some backroom dealings to conduct provocations to torpedo the nascent progress.
Neither man took questions at this news conference, and there were many to be answered, although not on their strengthening relationship. That spoke for itself.
Thank you very much, Vladimir.
Next time in Moscow.
Oh, that's an interesting one. I don't know. I'll get a little heat on that one, but I could see it possibly happening. Thank you very much, Vladimir. And thank you all.
Vladimir Putin is the man of war talking peace, but his version doesn't translate well in Ukraine. For Donald Trump, the follow-up call to Kyiv won't necessarily be easy. Vladimir Putin made a point that doesn't bode well for a peace deal. He said that to make any deal lasting and long-term, it would need to eliminate Russia's primary concerns. Moscow has long wanted Ukraine to drop its desire to join NATO, to limit the size of its military, and Russia lays claim to Ukrainian territory. Selling the Putin case to Western allies and to Ukraine will be a most difficult sell for the deal-maker president. it will struggle to fly with Ukraine and Western allies like it always has. That's what attention turns now, the men of most influence having left the stage. This was a historic meeting on peace, Alaska baked, but it doesn't necessarily travel well. James Matthews, Sky News, in Anchorage, Alaska.
Volodymyr Zelensky has ruled out ceding Ukraine's Donbass region ahead of his meeting with Donald Trump at the White House on Monday. Ukraine's leader was not included in ceasefire negotiations in Alaska yesterday. Vladimir Putin's red carpet welcome from US military has received, as you would understand, a cold reaction in Kyiv.
Of all days, this was one to define Donald Trump's presidency. The protagonist duly arrived at an Alaskan military base. For the Russian with blood on his hands,